Utilitarianism is the idea that each action you do should be producing the greatest good for the greatest number. It was made by Jeremy Bentham and later developed by John Stuart Mill. However, utilitarianism has been further analysed and developed into many subsections, the first of which is preference utilitarianism, which was presented by Peter Singer, as he thought humans were anthropocentre, which means that they were human-centred. So he came up with the idea that utilitarianism should take into account each individual's views. He believed this because he not only thought that we were too human-centred, but that Bentham's anti-utilitarianism was too impersonal and dehumanised us. In addition, he believed that we should include all forms of nature, so animals' preferences should be taken into account as well. He came up with the idea of the babies example, which was and still is very controversial, as he thought that babies should be legally allowed to be killed if they are under the age of 27 days, as they have no preference. So the mother's preference or the parents' preference should be taken precedent over the babies. Henry Sedgwick was a British philosopher who wrote The Method of Ethics and attempted a development on utilitarianism. He believed that all possible ways to solve a dilemma could be summed up into 3 ways. The first of which was egoism, which you should take into account nobody's view but yourself, so it's very personal. Utilitarianism, which is the greatest good for the greatest number, and intuitivism, which teaches 3 things. Real objective moral truth cannot be broken down and can be discovered by being intuitive. However, he argued that these weren't enough to be able to solve moral dilemmas, so he proposed universalistic hedonism. And that humans have ultimate desires for objects other than pleasure and pain, and each person has an equal right to happiness. G.E. Moore was also an English philosopher who devised intuitivism. And he said that it taught us 3 things, as mentioned earlier. The first of which was that there are real objective moral truths. Secondly, that these cannot be broken down into parts. And thirdly, that we can discover these by being intuitive. He wrote the book, Principia Ethica, where he said that good cannot be defined as it's like trying to define yellow, which, as you think about it now, is very, very difficult. He said that good means good and that is that, and that was the end of it. You can't define it, as the only way you can define it is that it produces pleasure. However, you can't say that pleasure is happiness, because it can come in different forms. This whole idea was criticised by relativism, as it said that intuitions are objective, as someone may believe that they have the intuition of a racist view, which obviously we know is wrong, so therefore it can't work in a modern day society. Overall, we have discovered 3 developments of utilitarianism